Sadly, this is not clickbait. I am actually being prosecuted in a criminal court case for literally saving a baby squirrel. So I am a teacher. All right. I care a lot about kids. I care a lot about animals. That's just who I am as a person. I've always been that way. And I know most people are literally the same way. I was at work. I was on my break. And I was coming back, walking from my car, and I see a baby squirrel on the ground. It couldn't move and it was missing a leg, and I didn't even notice that at the time because I was just so like shook that I'm literally seeing a baby animal on the ground, and it couldn't move. It was clearly dehydrated. I had no idea what to do. I had to go back to work. Okay, I had no idea what to do. Okay, I took the squirrel home, and I called a vet. A vet told me, "Oh, go to this like exotic vet." And then that exotic vet was like, "Okay, go to we don't see squirrels. You need to go to this wildlife center." Like, and then they gave me the number, and then I called the number, and then they were like, "Oh, text us a picture of the squirrel." I'm like, "Okay." I text them a picture of the squirrel, and then they're like, "You need to contact these two phone numbers." And I'm like, "Okay." So I contacted both of those numbers, and I didn't receive a reply from any of these numbers. So at this point, I'm just like, what do I do? Like, what is a person supposed to do in this situation? So I end up posting the squirrel on TikTok, and I get a lot. Obviously, like, it's a squirrel. I get a lot of views, I get a lot of attention, I got a lot of followers, and I got a lot of wildlife rehabbers telling me exactly how to take care of the squirrel. They sent me this website where I can order like specific squirrel formula. They basically like told me everything how to take care of it, and I was following this guide like for how to take care of the squirrel. And then I ended up even getting in contact with like an online vet who like taught me, who just told me basically I'm doing everything right and to just keep doing whatever I'm doing. I had the squirrel for like a week. I found it on a Tuesday. The following Thursday, I was at work, and this squirrel needed to be fed every 4 hours. So I came home from work, like was walking up to my apartment, and then I see these like officers there, and I don't think anything of it because I'm like, they're not here for me. But then they were, and then they were like, I have videos of it. I will post those in separate videos. But yeah, basically they were being pretty ridiculous, honestly. I wanted them to just leave me alone. But they were saying I need to give them the squirrel and this and that. And like, I'd been hearing already for the past, since I got the squirrel, that like, don't give it to these officers because they're going to euthanize it. This squirrel is considered non-releasable into the wild because it's missing a leg. So they're going to euthanize it. So that was all that was on my mind when these officers were there. So I did not want to give them the squirrel, but they kept reassuring me, "Oh, we're going to take it to a wildlife center." And so I ended up giving them the squirrel, my biggest regret of this year so far. I give them the squirrel. Immediately after I give them the squirrel, they're like, "Hold on." And I'm like, "No, like, I already gave you the squirrel. I have to go back to work. My students are waiting for me. I'm late. Like, I need to go. Let me go." And they're like, "No, you're being detained." I'm like, "For what?" And he said, "For illegal possession of a squirrel." And I said, "I already gave you the squirrel. What do you mean?" And you can see the video. I was so this officer, his name is Officer Keenan Chowpech. I have literally zero respect for this human. Like, how are like I don't want to defame these officers, but I have zero respect for them at all. Zero. Okay, they made me late to work, and as a teacher, like, dude, these students are not gonna have a teacher to go back to. What are you doing? What are you doing? And he's like, "I don't care that you have to go back to work." What do you mean you don't care? I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't. Anyways, I can get worked up about it, but I'm not going to. All right. So I end up going back to work. I'm really sad. Like, I tell my students, like, I'm really upset. Like, I'm really sad, like, and of course they didn't care. They were just acting a fool. But the officers told me which wildlife center they were taking the squirrel to. So I end up, after work, like, I immediately drive straight to that wildlife center. And I show up there, and I'm like, "Hey, like, have you guys received any, like, three-legged squirrels?" And they're like, "No." And so, like, I literally just started breaking down, crying, because like, you don't understand, like, when you're like bottle feeding a squirrel like milk, and it's like a baby and it's like relying on you for everything, like, that was just like a whole new experience for me as a person. And I just felt like such a strong bond with that squirrel. And I know it sounds like ridiculous, but I did. And so, like, when she told me that, I literally just started breaking down crying, and I had no idea like what to do. I ended up getting in contact with the wildlife. So I got in contact with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and then I told them I don't want to talk to the officer that took the squirrel. I want to talk to somebody above him. The way he handled the whole situation was extremely unprofessional. All I want to know is if the squirrel's alive and if it's okay. They end up getting me in contact with Officer Jonathan Garcia, which I looked up an article about him. I'll post the article in the description. But he told me that the squirrel is safe. It's in a wildlife center, and they're gonna plan on releasing it back into the wild, which, like, I knew was wrong because it's a non-releasable squirrel. I've been told that so many times, so I knew that was wrong. And I said, okay, can you tell me which wildlife center? And he said no. And I said, why? And he said, well, we don't know if somebody's gonna show up there and like vandalize the place or take the squirrel or whatever. I'm like, okay, can you send me a picture of the squirrel? And I said, and then he said no. And I said, why? And he said, I can't contact the wildlife center just for a picture of the squirrel. To me, it's just a load of bull. Okay? It's a load of bull. So I end up filing an open records request with the state, and that requires them to, share everything about what happened. I end up, when I filed the record request, they get back to me. They have 10 business days to get back to me. On that 10th business day, they got back to me, and they said that they can't release any information regarding this case because there's an open criminal investigation going on. And to me, I'm like, okay, so are they investigating the officer, Keenan Chowpech? And I end up getting a call I end up contacting the director of the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I get a call back from Captain Corey Collins of the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Hi, Josh. My name is Captain Corey Collins. I'm with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I got your message that you reached out to the director with some questions, and I was giving you a call back regarding that. So feel free to call me back on my cell phone.
And he tells me the same thing, that there's a criminal investigation going on. I'm like, okay, like, who's it against? And he said, against you. I'm like, for me? For what? And he said, for illegal possession of a squirrel. And I was just like, okay. So you guys are not going to share anything? And he said, no, we can't share because this investigation is going on. I'm like, okay, so I have what does that mean, criminal investigation? Like, what are you guys going to do? And then he said that you have an arraignment with the LA courthouse and you have to like go and like plead not guilty or whatever. And I was like, okay, do you feel like what you're doing is the right thing to do? And he said, I can't speak on it because it's an open investigation. I'm editing and I realized I forgot to mention this, but when I was on the phone with him and I told him, like, okay, I hope you feel like what you're doing is the right thing, he just chuckled. So yeah, definitely felt the need to mention that. And so let me get the letter. So here is a letter that I received from the LA courthouse. Okay? And it says, Dear Josh, please be advised that a criminal complaint has been filed charging you with a violation of Section FG 2002, commonly known as possessing fish or wildlife taken unlawfully. There may be other charges included in the complaint which are not listed here. If you are on probation in any other case, a probation violation may also have been filed. You are notified to appear for an arraignment in the Superior Court of California on September 25th, 2024. Failure to appear at the date and time indicated may result in the issuance of a warrant for your arrest. Please bring this letter with you to court. So, this is just the most ridiculous thing that I have ever seen. It makes me really hate this country. It makes me want to flee the country. Like, I hate this country now. I don't want to... I'm just like so furious, and it's just so like I just don't have words. I just don't have any words. Like it's like you're punishing me for doing what the right thing is. Like when I was on the phone with the supervisor, Jonathan Garcia, I asked him, okay, so what should I have done? Should I just left it there to die? And he said, yes, you should have just let nature run its course. That would have been the best thing to do. And I said, he said, why didn't you call animal control? Why would I call animal control? You call animal control if there's a snake, if there's a bear, if there's an animal that's trying to put the students in danger, then you call animal control. Why would I call animal control for a baby squirrel that cannot move, that needs help now? I'm just so fed up. If I'm bringing this to YouTube because, like, I've been posting it on TikTok and it's only going so far. I need this to be on YouTube. If you can do anything at all, please sign the petition in my bio. That I will put it. Please sign the petition in the description. It has around 25,000 signatures right now. I'm trying to get it to as many as possible so we can see what happens when I go to court. They should have told me, hey, thank you for taking the squirrel. We appreciate what you did. We want to help you become a licensed rehabilitator. These are the steps to do it. That is what they should have done. Instead, they take the squirrel and they probably euthanized it, and they won't admit to what they're doing, and they're trying to cover it up with every single little thing that they can do. And it's just really, it just makes me lose a lot of trust for my state, my country, the government. And I hope that you can see this and feel the same way. And please share this video. Please like it to get it, to as many people as possible. I'm hoping a lawyer sees this and wants to help me. I'll put a link to everything that you guys need. If you want to file a complaint with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, I have a complaint form link down there as well. If you want to contact the director, you can email him or you can call. I have that linked as well. If you guys have any questions at all, please comment them and I will reply to your comments. I really just want to get this out to as many people as possible. So thank you, and we'll see what happens.